Let's bring in our guest this hour, in studio, trial attorney Michael Jaafar. And Michael, let me start with you. Is it surprising to you or not that she is choosing not to testify, given she's the one that's saying, I was in fear of my life, that's why I shot through the door?
I think her defense attorneys must have tasted something they didn't like in their private conversations with her. There's something they didn't like, they tasted it, and they said, you know what, this is going to blow up our entire case. There's something that they saw, because at the end of the day, it could have gone either way. If she would have testified, I mean, she's a 6-year-old woman with no criminal history, right? So she has, on paper, the perfect person on paper to testify because of the fact that she's we all want to know what her state of mind was at the time of the incident, right? You're going to go to jail for potentially 30 years. What was your state of mind? We brought in every expert. Some of the experts were not really great experts, but you know, we want to know what your state of mind is. So for her not to testify, I have to assume that her defense attorneys tasted something they didn't like.
So, Michael, looking at the evidence that's been presented in this case, where do you think this jury's going to come down if you were to pull out that crystal ball?
That's a tough one, Judge Ashley. I'll tell you why, because this is rooted in self-defense, right? So in Florida, right, there's Chapter 7-6 where they tell you exactly what how you can defend yourself. You cannot use deadly force in Florida unless you have imminent fear of yourself being killed, right? It specifically says you can use force, but not deadly force, if you feel that someone's going to harm you. But you can use deadly force if you feel if you have an imminent threat to be murdered by somebody, right? So the closing argument for the state is going to say, look, somebody knocking on your door and yelling at you because you just had an altercation with their kid, that does not rise to the level of you, a reasonably prudent person, feeling like they're going to be harmed, killed, which is why her defense brought in the testimony, well, she had a friend, she had PTSD, she had a friend who was gagged and raped. This is all relevant, right? Do I think the jury's going to buy? I don't know. It's a tough one. There's only 6 people on the jury, Judge Ashley.
That's
so
right.
the state only has to convince 6 people that she went too far, right? And the PTSD and all of that, it's just a cockamamie story that you could just disregard. That's what the state's going to say tomorrow.